Hello there, this video is on multiplying decimals. Have some paper out and pencil for some notes that you have to bring to your teacher tomorrow. When you multiply decimals, the biggest thing that you need to be able to do is just to multiply numbers, and we'll give you some steps so you know where the decimal goes in your answer. But before we do this, I'm giving you the problem here, and these are the answers in my numbers in my answers, excuse me. What you need to do is to round these numbers to figure out where the decimal goes in my answer here. So I would round 0.36 to, I don't know, maybe 0, that's the nearest whole number, and 9.6 to a 10. So my estimate is actually going to be 0. But since 0 is sometimes kind of tough to deal with, if you look at this, you could also round 0.36. It's very close to 0.5, which is 1/2. So you could also think of this as half of 10, which is 5. So this is my estimate. My answer needs to be somewhere between 0 and 5. So if you go to this problem right here, I know my decimal should be right here, 3.456. That's pretty close to my actual estimate. Okay, then let's go down here to the next problem. First you want to round these. I always think about the nearest whole number first. So this first one would round to 35. This one would round to 0. So again, we're looking at my estimate being 0, and it's kind of hard. Does that mean the decimal goes here? And that's not always the case. So let's look at this number again to see what else we could round it to. And right now I'm thinking it's very close to this, and you should all know that 0.25 is really the same as 1/4. So when you find a fourth of something, it's just like dividing it by 4. And when I looked at 35, I can't divide it by 4 evenly, so I might just change this to a number that I can divide evenly by 4, which is 36. Or some people might do 32. So 36 times 1/4 equals 9. So my estimate is somewhere between 0 and 9. And so that helps me know that the decimal should be right here, 7.6714. Then let's just do that one more time. Round those numbers to what you think. The first one I'd round to 52. Second one, the nearest whole number is 1. So 52 times 1, I can easily make it 52, and I know right away where my decimal is going to go up here, probably right there. So 46.4046. I guess we could do this one too. This one's a little trickier because it's a 0, so I'd actually round that to 0. And I'd round this to 97. So my estimate would be 0. So now this is tricky. Is it going to be here or is it going to be here? But because this is so close to 0, it's actually going to be, hold on here. So 0 makes it kind of hard. So you could also take this number, oh, that's my eraser, and think of this as rounding up 1. So it's really 1/10. So sometimes it's easier to think of the fraction. What's 1/10 of 97? You can't really divide that by 10 evenly, so you could change 97 to 100. So if we ask ourselves, what is 1/10 of 100, which is really the same as 100 divided by 10, we would get 10. So we know my estimate is somewhere in between here. So that helps us know that the decimal goes right there. So that's just estimating, being able to kind of use number sense. But now here's how you actually find the product. First thing you need to do is pause the video and write down these steps, and then we'll go through the steps one by one. Okay, so first thing, ignore the decimals. So really what you have up here is 42 times 4. I don't care if you use lattice or traditional. You are just going to pause the video and calculate 42 times 4, and when you're done, have the answer on your paper ready to go. Okay, hopefully you have an answer of 168. Now, what you do with that answer is, we're on step B right now. Circle how many numbers are to the right of the decimal in the problem. So we're going to go up to the problem right now, and we're going to circle the numbers to the right, and I've circled 2. So now, step C, move the decimals to the left in the answer that many times. Since I circled 2, I come down here, start at the end, and move it over 2. 1, 2. So my final answer is 1 68/100. Now, one thing that we did not do, we forgot to estimate. Oops. So if we round 4.2, I'd round that to a 4. I'd round this to a half. And what's half of 4? 2. That's my estimate. And my estimate is pretty close to my answer. Alright, try this one. Once you write the problem down, take the decimals out, ignore it, and you're going to do 154 times 32. Once you get it and you have the answer, feel free to move ahead or just wait for me so you know what you're doing with the decimal. Okay, if you are done multiplying, you should have gotten this for your answer. And that was step A. Now we're on to step B. Circle how many numbers are to the right of the decimal in the problem. So you're going to come up here. All the numbers to the right, I see 2. So you come to your answer. You start right here, and you move over 2. 1, 2. So my final answer is 49 and 28/100ths. Let's just quickly check if we were to estimate. I would round 15.4 to 15. I'd round 3.2 to 3. And 15 times 3 is 45. So this is just my estimate, and it's actually very close. So I would be fine with that. Here's another one. I took the steps away, but hopefully you have them written down if you forget. Now this one, hopefully you don't have to do any big work. If you ignore the decimal here, you get a 2. Ignore the decimal here, you get a 7. And you can do that right in your head. 2 times 7 is 14. So go up to your problem and circle all the numbers to the right of the decimal. I circled 5, so that means you come to your number and you start at the end and you move it over 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is kind of what you want to do, and then where you have these little dips like this is where you need to add placeholder, which is 0. So my final answer, there's 3 zeros right here. That's a nice one to do in your head. This one you probably want to do on paper pencil. If I were to estimate, I'd round this to 20 and I'd round that to 3. So my estimate is 60. So I'm hoping my answer is close to 60. Okay, so first step, ignore the decimals. So I have 23 times 26. Use lattice, use the traditional way, but once you have the answer, figure out where the decimal goes. When you're done multiplying, you should have gotten 598. So next step, go to your problem. I have one number to the right of the decimal, but there's nothing there, so all I've circled is 1. So that means you just go to your answer and you move it over 1. So 59 and 8/10. Compare it to my estimate of 60, and I'm pretty close. There is my final answer. All right, your turn now to go to the Moodle page and answer the questions. We expect to see your work when you come in the next day. Otherwise, we won't count it because there's this handy-dandy calculator thing that you can use to get the answers right away. So if there's no work, there is no credit because we don't know if you accidentally used your calculator and not paper pencil. So good luck. Watch the video again if you need help, and toodaloo.